here at Mission Move are all about connections and introductions, right? And, you know, we like meeting and greeting new people. But there's one introduction that we make the most of, and that is between people's brains and their butts.
Yep.
It's crazy, right? They don't know each other, right? There's like no connection there. It's like, you know, I mean, it's not kind of on opposite sides of your body sort of thing, but it's like brain meet butt.
Yeah.
It's like,
we're going to show you how.
We're going to show you how, right? We know the connection's there. They just don't talk to each other.
Yes.
I don't know where the breakup occurred, but
we're getting them back together.
Yeah. So, how do we do that?
Okay, so if you guys have ever heard the terms glute amnesia or lazy glutes, this is what we're talking about, okay? And don't get it twisted. That does not mean that your glutes aren't working. They are working. If they weren't working, you wouldn't be standing or walking, okay?
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. If somebody tells you that your glutes aren't working, just run away, okay?
Yeah.
They are working, you just aren't feeling them how you should, and you're not getting the most out of your workouts because you aren't getting that mind to muscle connection, okay? So we're gonna show you some of our favorite drills to make that come back to life, all right? So a lot of these are pretty basic, but we're gonna show you our versions and how we get the most out of them. So don't get bored, just hang with us and listen to our tips because they're great, okay? So the first one we're going to talk about is the bridge. So I'm going to have yeah, let's be my model. Okay. So bridges, okay? Everybody's done a bridge, everybody's seen a bridge, but we're going to just give you a couple little tidbits to get the most out of your bridge, okay? So first of all, feet are going to be about hip width apart. Your knees are going to stay out. So a lot of people, when they go to push up into their bridge, their knees will come together like that, right? That is no good. We don't want that because that's basically you're losing a whole component of your glutes, which are on the side of your glutes, right? So you want that too. So you're going to keep the knees apart, and before you even push up, you're going to think about engaging your glutes by literally just squeezing your glutes, like squeeze them tight, yeah? And that's going to get your core involved a little bit and just get everything like in the right direction, okay? So you're going to squeeze the glutes, and then you're going to really focus on pushing your butt straight up, not forward, not back. If you're sliding back, you're using your hamstrings a little bit too much. If you're sliding forward, I don't know what you're doing, but you're not doing it right? So you want your glutes to squeeze and go straight up towards the ceiling and really focus on tightening them as tight as you can the whole movement and keeping those knees apart. Yeah. Anything to add there?
Yeah, so common things that we see a lot is people will roll up into a bridge is what I call it. So they'll kind of like do this where they're like rolling up like that and they don't come up very high. They're trying to like push their back down to get up. And so they're losing the hinge at the hips, which is really where the glutes are activated. So it's just straight up, right? You want to think you have a femur down here, you want to make your back into another femur. So it's just a hinge. And like she said, if you find yourself pushing like this, right, that means you're using your quads a lot of times, and you're pushing that way, and you're not really activating the lift straight up.
And at the top, get that little hold for a second or two. Don't just go up like rapid fire because that's not what this is all about.
This shouldn't be your bridge.
No.
Like just this.
So getting that good activation in the beginning and a little hold at the top, you're going to get way more out of this. If you want to make this a little bit harder, you can add a band around your knees here, and then that will remind you to push out. And I'll usually have people like put this here, I'll have them push out and then push up and hold that out the whole time. If that doesn't get your glutes burning, come see us because you're doing something wrong, because that should get them on fire. And then to progress from there, if you want to go even farther, you can go to a single leg bridge. That's going to be really hard. And just make sure if you do that one, you keep your hips nice and even and you're not getting a bunch of rotation in there, okay? So then the next one we're going to talk about is the clamshell. Again, another super common one, but super commonly done incorrectly, okay? So if you're doing these at home, chances are you're probably doing them too fast or not the right way to really feel the glutes the best. So the way we like to show it is to get a little bit straighter, actually. So I want your legs back, hips forward a little bit, and that position just prevents you from using the front of your hip to pull the leg up, right? So that kind of prevents you from cheating. So this one should be all isolated on the side of your butt cheek. That's where you should feel this, not in your back, not in the front, not in your quad. So if you're feeling it in those places, it's probably just slightly off, okay? So feet stay together, hips stay straight up towards the ceiling, shoulder stays forward. You're not rolling your shoulder back because that's gonna make your back kick into this. And then from there, you're gonna open this up and you're gonna hold it. A lot of times we'll even give our patients a little bit of resistance here and make them hold it against some manual resistance, and that is gonna force that muscle to kick on eventually. Give it a few seconds, 10 to 20 seconds. By then, it should be really tired out.
Sometimes it takes longer.
Yeah, it can take longer.
People will, a lot of times they'll feel it in the front somehow. They'll feel it in the bottom leg. They'll feel it in their hamstring. It's almost like you got to wear out all the other muscles before this one actually, this is where we call it lazy glutes. Like it's lazy, it doesn't want to do its job. So it's like hanging in the back. It's like, oh, all right. I guess I'll finally kick in.
Yep.
I guess I'll do some work.
Yep.
So that's why we do that prolonged hold. And then you can use the band to do the same thing.
Yeah, you can do band as well. And I'll even, another cue I'll tell people is like focus on this muscle and focus on pulling the knee up from the glute. Like think about that, and that will help you engage a little bit more.
If you find yourself rolling backwards, you know you're cheating. You almost want to take your hip and point it towards the bed. This is a really easy exercise to just like do at home and be like, well,
Just
I know I'm
zone
supposed to
out.
do some clams and be like, hey, what's everybody doing today?
It's
Or,
my
you know,
grocery list. Like, don't
and
do
you won't
that.
actually get it done. You really got to work hard at this.
Focus on it. Yep. Okay, next one we're gonna do is the straight leg version of this. This is, I think, a little bit harder. So what you're gonna do here is similar position, keep the leg back a little. So bottom leg is bent, top leg is straight, top leg is the one you're working, and the top leg is behind this front leg, okay? So again, keep your core tight, make sure you're not arching your back. You don't wanna go so far back that it makes you arch. And then you're kind of turning your foot out, and then you're sliding this up and back slightly, okay? And again, you may feel this a little bit here in the beginning, but it should be more glute. Again, you want to think about pulling the foot up from your glute. And that one is just a longer lever version of the clam, so it's going to be a lot harder. Whenever people do this at home, you'll see this where they are doing this, okay? Or they're going way too high, okay? And you don't need to go high with this. You need to keep it behind you, and then just about there, that's all you need. If you try to go higher, you'll feel it more in the front.
It's almost, the cue I give people is almost as if there was like a pole or the wall behind you, because you want to, it's interesting, you're hitting kind of all the ways the glute works. You're lifting, so abduction, you're extending by pushing back, and then you're externally rotating. So it works all three planes of the glutes really well, but you really have to be focused on what you're doing.
Yep, okay, last one. This is going to be in a standing position. You need a little band for this one. I'm going to have you put that around like your mid shin area. And then what you're going to do for this one, I'm going to have you like turn that way.
Can you see that, Bree? Or do I need to stand on the table? I can do either. I was just backing up.
Does that
Okay,
work?
that's good.
Okay,
All right.
so turn that way.
Okay.
And then what you're going to do is stand on your right leg. And you will feel this one on both sides, which is another reason why I kind of like it. And keep your core tight, and you're going to think about a 45-degree angle back. So not straight to the side, not straight back, but 45 degrees back, yep? And as you do that, you should feel this right here. You want to make sure you're not going so much that you feel it in your back. Again, this should be isolated to the glute. You may feel this side working because it's stabilizing. So you'll feel a little bit of both. And this is another just great way to really isolate those glutes and build that mind-muscle connection.
Yeah,
Cool.
and I mean, the big picture purpose of all this is when you go then to do things like squats, deadlifts, step-ups, lunges, all these other glute exercises that work you as like more of a functional movement, you want to know that whether or not you're working your glutes. You don't want to just be like, well, I did that exercise, I hope something's kicking in. You'll know if it's kicking in once you get that connection going to your glutes.
So don't look at this as strengthening, it's more activation to better optimize your strengthening movements later on.
All right, thanks for watching. Let us know if you have any questions.